Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Non Sequitur Nerds. Tonight, we're going to need you to gather your Kyber Crystals and make sure your droids are charged, because we're going to be having a spoiler episode, been a while since we've done one of those, of Star Wars Visions, which, as of time recording, just came out this week, so we're on top of it this time. I am Tim, joining me as always is my buddy Ian. How's it going tonight, Ian?
Well, the force is with us all. Feeling a little, kind of a little light on my feet tonight. I donated blood earlier today, so I'm
Oh,
a
that's
pint
fun.
low. Yeah, I'm a pint low on. I tried to, it's one of those things where you don't really want to supplement the pint low with a pint of beer because that
But you
just
did.
really. No, I didn't.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I did not. So I am sober for once.
Well, I'll have
Um,
some mead for you later.
Huzzah! Anyway, so yes, Star Wars Visions, and as Tim said, we are actually on top of it this week.
Yeah, for once, the,
So
the, the nerd's ADHD actually lost this time.
right, and don't get me wrong, like I love Marvel, I love their properties, but let's be honest, like Star Wars has been with me since I was like knee high to a grasshopper, if I want to show my age.
Right. Well, and
Um,
like the good thing about Visions is all the episodes, like they're between 13 to 15 minutes on average. So like you could literally watch the entire first season, which is only 9 episodes, in just a couple hours, and you've watched all of it.
yeah,
Like I watched half of it on Wednesday when it came out, well, a little over half. Then I watched the last couple episodes just today. Um, but yeah, it came out a
I've
lot.
been
It came out a lot sooner than I anticipated it would. But I mean, they don't really have because there's no other Disney Plus Star Wars show. Oh, well, no, we got Book of Boba Fett's the end of this year, isn't it?
yeah, Book of Boba
Okay,
Fett's coming out in December.
December. So I think this is
Yeah,
kind of a thing to kind of tide people over on the Star Wars front because there's nothing else that I know of Star Wars Disney Plus coming. Well, there's
yeah,
nothing
not that I.
Disney Plus
Well,
Marvel, is there?
well, so remember I'm not sure if you watched it or not. They did have Bad Batch earlier this year.
Okay, which admittedly, like I really liked it. I need to actually finish it. For once,
Yeah,
I'm the one not finishing the show.
well, also as of the time of this taping, Tim still hasn't seen Shang-Chi,
I'm
so we
I'm
can't
working
talk
on it.
about that.
I'm working on
Uh,
it. I've been avoiding the internet like the plague. Um,
which is hard to do for as much of a technophile
well, I
as
was,
you are.
well, I was gonna say I'm avoiding the internet like the plague because I can't go see the movie because of the plague. Yeah.
Fair.
Anyway.
Yeah, so Visions, Disney's Star Wars anime anthology. So this is actually the first time that they have done Star Wars anime.
Yeah.
Like there's been fan creations and stuff like that on the internet. There's several really good fan creations on
Yeah,
the
there
internet.
are. Yeah, there are. There's some very
Um,
talented fans out there.
yes, but this is the first like fully licensed, uh, you know, Star Wars anime set of stories. So it's as Tim said, 9 episodes. Each episode, I think the shortest episode is 13 minutes. The longest is I think 23.
Yeah, they're
And
they're not
it's
super long.
no, and it's an anthology. So it's disconnected episode. Like each episode is its own set thing. It
Yep.
is not officially canon in any way in the universe. However, Lucasfilm has said that we could make some of this canon one day. Like we're gonna leave it open.
And like before we get into like the nitty gritty of it, there are multiple episodes that if they made it to a full series, I would watch the crap out of.
Oh
But
hell yeah!
but before and also before we get into the nitty gritty, if you have not seen Star Wars Visions yet, this is a spoiler episode. So we'll give you a few seconds now to go watch it. We'll see you in a couple hours. All right, cool. So if you're still listening to this point, you either don't care about spoilers or have already watched it or have no idea what we're talking about. So, Star Wars
In which
Visions.
case, thank you for hanging on.
Exactly. Thank you for holding. We need hold
Right.
music. But no, Star
Get
Wars
the
Visions,
the
like
intermission music from Monty Python.
exactly. I'm sure we can find some royalty-free elevator music.
I'm sure.
But no, Star Wars Vision was something that when they announced it, a lot of people it kind of came out of nowhere. It wasn't anything that I think anyone was really expecting. But like Ian said, it's all official stuff, and there are some big name anime companies doing these episodes. Um, I
Yeah,
mean,
they've
like
got.
one of my personal favorites, Studio Trigger, and Production IG. Like Studio Trigger did a couple episodes actually.
Yeah, they did. Trigger actually did 2.
Yep.
So the studios in order from episode is Kamikaze Doga,
Yep.
Studio Colorido,
Yep.
Trigger, Cinema Citrus, Production IG, Science Saru, Trigger again,
Yep.
Geno Studio, and Science Saru again.
Yep.
So Science Saru got 2 episodes, Trigger got 2 episodes, and then the others were different studios.
Well, and I'll say I was looking at the wrong episode. Science Saru, like the 2 episodes that they did, were both episodes that I really enjoyed. Their art style, like I had to look up before we started recording. Their art style between those 2 episodes is vastly different. But like,
Well, even...
I mean, that just goes to show. Just I mean, I'm not super familiar with Science Saru, but I would love to see more of their work because I mean they've got range and versatility on their animation team. Seriously.
Yeah, so they mostly focus right now on films. Films is kind of their big thing. So they did do a kind of a pseudo series for Netflix called Japan Sinks 2020.
Okay.
It's kind of a dystopian, like apocalyptic type show. They were also associated with Space Dandy.
He's a dandy in space.
Correct. Also on Netflix, Devilman Crybaby. If you've not seen that one,
wait, they did Devilman Crybaby?
Yep.
Wow. Okay, they seriously have a lot of range in their animation style.
Well, I mean, if you even look at Trigger's 2 episodes,
well, I mean, Trigger
2 episodes are like bar none vastly different.
Well, like their first episode they did, without spoiling it too much. I mean, it was Kill la Kill Star Wars, but I was all about it.
Oh, totally. Like it's Kill la Kill and Gurren Lagann meets Star Wars.
Oh yeah, it is very much Gurren Lagann. Okay, let me ask you that first. I know we haven't even started talking about the episodes yet, but this Ian and I, whenever we do these spoiler episodes, we try to keep our thoughts about certain things to a minimum. So like what you guys are seeing and hearing is these are things that we're discussing for the first time. Like I texted him when it first came out and said, hey, just reminder, it's out. This is what I think of the first couple episodes. You should watch it. But as far as like going in depth, we don't do that before we record these. But the first Science Saru one, I'm assuming you have the episode list and synopsis pulled up as well for reference.
Yeah,
did that give you? Do you remember that anime movie that I picked up years ago, Metropolis?
Of course.
Okay.
Did
that have Metropolis vibes to you?
It was well, Metropolis also very much has Astro Boy vibes, which both of those episodes, both of these.
Yeah.
So the first Science Saru episode, which is called T0B1 or Toby.
Yep.
Is definitely gives me Astro Boy vibes, but then it's also got the Metropolis vibes, and Metropolis is a phenomenal
Death Kiss.
Yes, just beautiful movie. It's so cerebral.
I cried at Metropolis. I mean, it was so it got you. It got to you.
Oh, it did.
But anyway, I digress. So let's start at the beginning, which is a very good place to start. A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, and all that.
Right.
So okay, first episode, the duel.
Yep.
The whole thing, this had probably the most unique animation style out of all of these. It was all hand drawn, but was designed to look like an old black and white, direct from Japan samurai movie, and it felt like an old school samurai movie. And I mean, those of you that don't really know, Star Wars as a whole, Lucas has even said, was heavily inspired on old Kurosawa films. So mixing Star Wars with, I mean, all of these episodes are very Japan inspired. I mean, that's a running theme throughout the whole thing. Apart from the fact that it is anime, like the aesthetics, the design choices, things like that are all very Japan inspired. The first one, you're watching a Kurosawa film. I mean, let's call it what it is. But I loved it. I loved every bit of it. The animation style, just the grittiness of it, but the realism of it, man, it was beautiful. Is the best way to describe it.
Yeah, I would concur with that. It was a beautifully done episode. It was the themes and the animation was fantastic, and it was a good episode to start with because it kind of sets the general tone, and it really does pay that homage to, it tells you this is Star Wars anime.
Yeah,
it is Very Japanese culture. We're talking about the Ronin, the main character.
Yep.
He's got the wakizashi and the katana
Yep.
versions of lightsabers.
Which was cool.
Draws out the sabers.
Yep.
Not just like pulls out the hilt and then lights it, like literally draws it from a scabbard, type deal. So, or a saya, if you want to go with the Japanese term. But yeah, it was a beautiful episode, and like Tim said, it's very, you know, heavily influenced, especially this one by Kurosawa. But it also gave us a nice little treat because it gave us probably one of the most over the top crazy lightsabers.
Oh my god, did it?
in the history of there's obviously the running joke on, the internet, and like Robot Chicken even does an episode, I think, where they have like the lightsaber flail, and then like the lightsaber pitchfork, and
well, like even in expanded universe Star Wars, like there were some really weird lightsaber designs even before we got Kylo Ren's cross hilt design. In expanded canon, there was a lot of really, I mean, there's a lightsaber whip, which we'll get to that later. But like when the Sith first pulled out what ended up being her lightsaber, I thought, okay, she pulls out what looks like a Japanese style fan, and I thought, okay, the lightsaber blade's going to come out of the end of it. She's going to use it like a pole arm. Like, okay, that's pretty cool. Yeah, no, we got something much cooler than that. She opens up her fan, and out of like the arms of the fan are lightsaber blades coming out of all the little arms of the fan. I mean, she hovers with it. She uses it as an offensive and defensive weapon, and it was just it was so over the top, but it fit with like those old samurai. Like I could see somebody in an old samurai film using an umbrella with hidden blades coming out of it. That like it fit thematically perfectly.
Their next episode, hopefully if they do another one of these, and Kamikaze Doga comes back, the next time they're gonna have like lightsaber fans, kind of like Katana's
that would be awesome.
Like Katana's fans from Mortal Kombat, and lightsaber size,
lightsaber shuriken,
lightsaber kunai.
I mean, well, like there's already like short, like smaller bladed sabers, so it really wouldn't be too hard to do a kunai, but. Like, yeah, it was unique. I mean, I just can't get over how, like, that first episode was so different, Star Wars wise, so different than anything else we had seen. But I was engaged from like the second that episode started, all the way up until the end. Yep. And Ian and I talked. This is the one thing we did talk about. My only complaint with Visions, and I'm just going to go ahead and get this out of the bat because I have nothing but good things to say about it. My only complaint is, since it is an anthology series and each episode is its own self-contained story, every single one of these episodes I want to see a full series of, and I know they won't do a full series for every single one. Like the first one ends, that classic trope of the swordsman with no name. Like, what is your name, samurai? And, he doesn't give his name. Like, you don't know, like, what he's about. But you come to find out that he's been hunting Sith. He opens up his, the term for it, Ian.
His gi.
His gi, thank you. I couldn't remember it. He opens up his gi, and he's just got, a whole bunch of red Kyber crystals. And, like, he's been hunting Sith. And, like, we don't know why. We don't know who he is. We may never know. But, like, that's the mystique of it, is a lot of those older samurai films, it was the hero with no name. You don't know why he's doing these things, but he's going about the land, righting wrongs, your classic hero, if you will. So, I mean, even if that one doesn't get another episode, which I hope it does, because it was amazing, it still fits into that trope of old samurai movie.
Yeah,
I really liked it.
It definitely pulls, emulates or pays homage to Yojimbo, which was very much the Ronin, rogue warrior, and that's actually what they even refer to the character as. Like, they don't mention his name or even call him anything. Like, but in the credits, he is credited as Ronin.
Yep,
the Ronin. So before we move on to the next episode, what I'm going to do periodically throughout this is, as we talk about different studios, I'm going to make some shout outs to some of the other materials
Yeah,
that
please,
they've done.
absolutely.
That way, if you like if you've seen the episodes and like them, you can kind of check out some of the other stuff that they've done. So for Kamikaze Doga, they're kind of a more niche type studio. They've not done a heck of a lot. But some of the stuff that they have done is really impressive.
Yeah.
One of them being Batman Ninja.
Oh, you know,
So
now that you meant, like, yeah, that is that exact, yeah, that's that exact style.
yep, Batman Ninja.
Okay.
They have also done it looks like 3 seasons of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. So
Why did we not get JoJo Star Wars? Oh my god, that would have been amazing.
so
Oh,
we could, in theory, say that entire episode was a JoJo's reference.
everything's a JoJo reference if you try hard enough. All right.
Yes. All right, moving on. So next episode is Tatooine Rhapsody by Studio Colorido.
Like, okay,
Kind of a more of a
go
more
ahead.
of a cutesy animation style.
I liked it though.
I
Like,
don't want to say the characters are chibi, because they're not chibi, but they're definitely like shrunk down, like almost
yeah,
miniaturized type
Mhm.
characters. Kind of the goofy
not quite
proportions.
chibi, but borderline. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
SD.
Uh, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We can go with
There we go.
SD. So
But no, that was the first thing. Like when that episode started, I'm like, oh, this is cute. I was actually I said that out loud. I'm like, oh, this is cute.
yeah. No, the episode follows a Padawan running from the Jedi Purge, Order 66, and he winds up crashing into what amounts to basically is a space minibus.
Yeah, I mean, a
Um,
space tour bus.
yeah, and gives up the life of a Jedi slash Padawan and becomes a singer in an intergalactic rock band.
Yeah.
So figure out that pivot, folks. But the episode works. Like, I thought it was a fun
Yeah.
episode. Like, there was some interesting. It was very much kind of tongue in cheek, kind of meta type. It wasn't like fantastic writing, but
Well, I'm saying,
it was
wasn't
fun,
this?
and it also brought us SD Boba Fett.
I was gonna say,
So
wasn't this the only episode to feature in canon characters?
I think
I
so.
think so, because I mean, you
Yes,
see Boba Fett, you see Jabba.
and you see Bib Fortuna.
Oh yeah, you do see Bib. Yep.
Yep. Which, by the way, Matthew Wood, the actor and voice actor for Bib
Yeah.
Fortuna, is actually he's credited for sound design in the episode as well
Okay.
as a voice acting role.
Awesome.
So
Well, see, I'm glad that like in an episode where we got canon characters, I'm glad that they got the actual actors slash voice actors, whatever have you, to reprise their roles. That was pretty cool.
right, because Tamura Morrison also comes back and plays Boba Fett,
Yep.
which is again very fun, very interesting.
Yep.
We get to see Boba Fett kind of somewhat jamming out.
You
It
can
kind of
see
does
Boba Fett
the
crowd surfing too.
yeah, right. You see Boba Fett kind of doing the stoic head bob, when they're playing music.
Yep.
Still got to be a badass, but you can at least
He's
enjoy
got
the
a
jams.
reputation to hold up.
Yeah,
But
but
the entire premise of that episode, like Ian says, starts off with the Jedi turning into the rock star, but their one of their lead guitarist is wanted by Jabba, and there's this whole thing about
I think he's the bassist actually.
or yeah, bassist. Yep. He pretty much gave up the life of a crime lord because this is what he wanted to do. This is music was his passion, so he's to be executed because he's betrayed the family. So they end. Go ahead.
I kind of wondered to myself, like, when they started introducing, or when they introduced this plot point that he was being hunted by Jabba. It kind of made me wonder, like, is this Jabba's kid?
Well, because
Because remember, Jabba does have a kid
Yep.
in the Clone Wars.
Yep.
In the Clone Wars TV show, he has a son.
Ooh.
But it
I don't remember
doesn't.
what his son's name was.
Yeah, that's the problem. Is I don't think the name lines up
Yeah.
with.
Well, I mean,
with,
unless that's just his stage name.
Could be.
I mean, maybe it is Jabba's son, and what they call him is his stage name because that's what his friends know him as. I don't know. I mean, again,
Rhoda. His name is Rota.
Road of the Hut. Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
So I mean, again, we're speculating on something that may only ever get this was it 15-minute time slot, but they end up saving him with the power of music. In fact, they play a song that's so good, the crowd loves it, and that was their whole thing. Is they talk Jabba into letting them play one last song before he's executed. And Jabba, he's not completely heartless. He goes, "Okay, I'll give you this one thing," but then he's done. The
Right.
crowd ends up absolutely loving it, and our main protagonist says, "All right, Jabba, you've heard how much the crowd loves us. How would you like to be our first sponsor?" That's a great business decision that I don't think you can throw away. And Jabba agrees because they are really good. In the context of the show, they're really good. I mean,
Right.
it was an earworm. It was a pretty catchy song, but
Yeah, I mean,
Admittedly, I am a fan of I'm a fan of in-universe Star Wars music. On my phone, I have a playlist of all the music that plays at the cantina in Disney, which is all canon music, and it's all really catchy. So, and of course,
I
there's
mean,
the
it's Cantina
cantina
music.
song.
It's supposed to be,
Exactly,
right.
exactly. It's cantina music.
Right.
Um,
Yeah. So this episode really kind of showcased some of that star power that we were talking about. Joseph
so
Gordon-Levitt
yeah, we haven't even
plays the
talked
main.
about a lot of the voice cast yet.
Right. Joseph Gordon-Levitt plays the main character
Yep.
in this episode. The Padawan. And I'd have to look up, which I will do while we talk.
I actually haven't looked
Uh,
at. Let's see. Joseph Gordon-Levitt played Jay the Padawan.
yep.
Geezer was Bobby Moynihan. Moynihan. Bob.
Moynihan.
Thank you. I
Bobby
can never say that.
Moynihan. Yes.
Tamara Morrison as Boba Fett, of course. Shelby Young as K344, their droid companion in the band, and Mark Thompson played Lan. I will say I would be remiss if I did not say the bandit leader in episode 1 was none other than one Lucy Liu.
Yeah.
I would
Well,
be remiss if I didn't mention the queen. Um,
or don't you mean the princess?
You're thinking of Lucy Lawless.
Yes, I am. Sorry,
I
Lucy
was
Liu.
gonna say Lucy Liu is a queen. Um, but no, I mean that pretty much is all there is to say on that episode. It was a fun episode. Um, One of the few episodes where you don't actually see a lightsaber fight. Thinking about it, like the Padawan
Yeah.
has kind of retrofitted his lightsaber to be a microphone. He tries to activate it at one point, and it doesn't. You do see lightsabers in it, or no, you don't see lightsabers in it. At the beginning, when he's running, I think you see him with it, but apart from that, no lightsaber fight in this one. It was a very, for the most part, non-combative episode. I think there were just a couple of punches thrown, and that's about it. So, I mean, was different than a lot of the other episodes, but was still good. That's another one that, you know what? I would watch that. Like, I got very light Fooly Cooly vibes off of it, just because of the importance of music and sound in it. But I mean that's one that I would watch. It wouldn't be like if they gave me you can only pick one for a series, that wouldn't be at my top, but it's still up there for me. So
Yeah. It was again. I don't think there's any really bad
and there's
episodes.
not no.
I just did. That one's a fun kind of like
Yeah,
palate cleanser type episode.
very much like it's one that like if I went back and watched this all again, I'd still watch it. It's not one I'd skip over.
Probably one of those things that you watch it first, just so that you kind of start off light and you get it out of the way, and then you
Yeah,
move through the
yeah,
episodes.
exactly, exactly.
All right. So Studio Colorido, who did that one, not a very well-known studio,
Okay,
founded in 2011. Their mascot is an evil goose.
I was gonna say
Um,
you sent me a picture of that, and
yeah.
what did you say? It's evil incarnate. And
Yes.
it's a goose in a bow tie.
Right, but I'm more referencing, the meme about the killer goose and whatnot. So.
Oh, I'll say geese are evil. Like
Yeah,
the
well, they are.
college campus I went to had geese that there was one path because there was a lake. It was a lake that was split with a path in between it, but there was another path that went all the way around the backside of the big lake. The geese decided that narrow path that's where they're going to nest. And if they were there when you were trying to get to class, you knew just go around. You're going to be late. Go around because
Yep.
the geese will kill you. You will never make it.
Yeah, they're evil. Anyway, so yeah, Studio Colorido, uh, mostly doing films, some short net animations. Did Pokemon Twilight Wings, which
Okay.
is kind of the offshoot series that they were doing, web based. They've done Burn the Witch, which is a movie from a manga series.
Okay.
And then they also did A Whisker Away, which is a more recent movie. It's on Netflix.
Okay.
I've heard it's a really good one, but
Yeah,
otherwise
not one I'm
they're
familiar with.
yeah, it's on my watch list. I just haven't gotten around to it yet.
Okay.
So anyway,
So I mean, they're a newer studio. I mean, well, not super new, but
yeah,
okay.
they have a very small catalog right now.
Okay.
So
Well,
anyway,
honestly,
moving
I
on
hope to
then.
see them grow because I mean,
Yeah,
if their stuff like their animation style is very, I don't want to say cutesy, but it was very a kid friendly
cutesy.
art style. It was cutesy, um,
Yeah.
but it was very clean. So
Yep.
I would like to see more from them.
Yep. So we'll move on then to the next one, which is The Twins by, again, one of Tim and I's
Yep.
favorites, Studio Trigger.
Yep.
Um, so if you know anything about Trigger and some of their pantheon of movies, Tim and I have talked about them before. Promare,
Which
Gurren
was
Lagann
so Promare
technically,
was so good.
yes. Gurren Lagann technically is not Studio Trigger. That was, I believe, Gynex, where
Yeah.
the folks who created Gurren Lagann left there and created their own studio. They created Trigger
Yeah.
after they created Gurren Lagann. However, pretty much everyone
It's Studio
considers
Trigger. I mean,
pretty much everyone considers Gurren Lagann as a spiritual Trigger.
yeah.
An honorary Trigger series. Kill a Kill, SSD Gridman. I think they did Bitum, um, which apparently is a really good series, and everybody's butthurt that they haven't made another. Like, it ends apparently on a cliffhanger, and
Oh,
I guess it just didn't
those are
make
the
enough.
worst though.
Yeah, I guess it just didn't make enough money for them to be able to pick it up as another series.
That's a
It's
shame.
kind of one of those cult favorites.
Gotcha.
Let's see, what did Darling in the Franxx was another one of theirs.
That's Darling and the Franks is a whole nother beast. Let me tell you.
Yeah, that one kind of starts out one way and then goes completely sideways, like 2/3 of the way through it.
Right. It's not
But
bad. It's different.
yeah, it's definitely different. So yeah, so they have a huge pantheon of movies and shows and things like that Tim and I are big fans of. Brand New Animal on Netflix. If you haven't
Yep.
seen that one, I suggest checking it out. It's a really good show.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, the twins. This show focuses on two twins,
Twins.
not Luke and Leia, that were created. They're basically like the anti-Luke and Leia, really. Like,
I mean,
they're
yeah.
created by the dark side, from the dark side. They
Yep.
don't have parents. They were essentially birthed from the Force, and they're being charged with basically making another planet killer weapon, which is essentially two star destroyers bolted together with a super laser in the
Yep.
middle of them.
Which I mean,
So
like I like the fact that like the episode, because it is about twins. The episode features a lot of like mirrored images and like dual whatever is on the screen at the time, which is a nice like visual kind of tie into the theme of the show of duality.
yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
would concur with that. So uh, yeah, so it features the twins, and the male twin Kare winds up, you know, sabotaging the weapon, so to speak,
Yep.
because he has a vision that his sister will die, and he doesn't
Yep.
want that. And then, of course, obviously the female twin, whose name is Am, that's it,
Yep.
um, tries to stop him.
Yep.
So they have a very Titanic, very Kill a Kill style, over the
Yes.
top Gurren
Yes.
Lagann over the top duel.
Oh,
Uh,
this was, I mean, like, just as far as being just, and, turned up to 11 style duel, this was one of my favorites in this whole series. And we should say, the male twin, Kare, was voiced by none other than Neil Patrick Harris himself.
yep,
And his sister, very fitting that she's in a space-themed thing, is voiced by none other than Alison Brie.
correct. So,
But,
uh,
like I don't remember who I was talking to, but like, oh, dude, Brie Larson is in this. I'm like, what? Yeah, Brie Larson. She plays like one of the twins. You mean Allison Brie? Yeah, what did I say? Brie Larson. Yeah, let's go with the Allison one. But yeah, I mean it's like you can immediately tell watching this that it's Studio Trigger. I mean, it is the art style is very much a it's Kill la Kill. I mean,
Yeah.
it's Kill la Kill without as much detail, if that makes any sense, but not in a bad way, not in a
And
bad
more
way.
clothes.
And more
And a lot
clothes.
more
Yes.
clothes. Yes.
Yes. I mean,
Now that said, they do still have the theme of people losing some of their clothes,
yep.
but they're always it's armor and
Yeah.
they have clothing on underneath it. So
It's
unlike Kill la
Disney.
Kill,
Don't for it may be anime, but it's still Disney.
correct. So yeah, I mean, very over the top animation, very over the top
Yes.
action.
Well, I
You know,
mean,
it's
like
a
he cuts.
God help anybody that has synesthesia, because like
Oh yeah.
for those of you that don't know what synesthesia is, it's basically like being able to experience colors, like having another, like some people can literally taste the color purple,
Yeah.
yeah, or being able to smell like the color red type thing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's this episode is like an acid trip
Oh
of
my
a show
god,
of an
yes.
episode, but it's
Well, I
so
mean,
fun.
he literally cuts a Star Destroyer in half by standing on the bow of his X-wing, inverted to the Star Destroyer, with his lightsaber up, while they're hitting warp. I mean,
Yeah, so
you don't get much more anime than that.
It was actually a really cool homage, like paying tribute to the Holdo maneuver from The
Yes.
Last Jedi, which was the
Yes.
only good thing about The Last Jedi.
I mean,
Um,
yeah.
but yeah, so
No.
it's kind
There was another good thing about The Last Jedi. The
when it
credits
ended.
rolling.
Yeah, yes.
That was my favorite part.
So yeah, so it pays homage to the Holdo maneuver. Like they even do kind of like the weird,
The Holdo
like,
remover.
right? The light splitting off and everything.
Like
and,
it was just really. I mean, it was so super over the top. Had this happened in a live action Star Wars movie, people would be like, "What is this crap?" But it's anime, and like I was not. It didn't feel out of place. But
yeah, and I think for those of us, for those of us that are fans of anime, that and especially those of us that are fans of Studio Trigger, like this is not something that that is. I mean, that's their whole. That's part of their shtick for their actiony type, like over the top action stuff.
It's
Is a weapon,
over the top,
right? It's also like weapons that just infinitely increase in size.
or
Gurren
are
Lagann.
so horribly impractical that there's no feasible way you could use it, but they make it work.
Right, like Gurren Lagann, they have the drills that
Yep.
just keep getting bigger.
I mean,
Kill
by the
has
time
the scissor,
Gurren Lagann's done, you have a Gurren that is literally the size of like the universe and then some. So I mean,
yeah.
but yeah, kill with the scissor blade things.
Yep.
But we had talked earlier about like out there Star Wars weapons. His sister has effectively what are lightsaber. I don't even know if you'd call them whips so much as lightsaber ribbon batons.
Well, so
But,
first,
I mean, they were cool though.
First, I saw a meme online after I watched the episode, and it was like it basically said it was like one of those psychology memes, like like, oh, General Grievous waifu doesn't exist, she can't hurt you, and then they show the picture of his sister with six arms and the lightsaber blades, like all pissed off because she only has 2 actual arms, but she uses the Force to create robot like 4 more robot arms
out of her
armor. It's very much out of her armor. So it's very much like a General Grievous like esque thing. Yeah. So General Grievous waifu.
Kenobi-chan, you noticed me.
yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I'd say the best thing I would say is
I want to draw a picture of Grievous now with like the anime like blush, and he's got like all like sparkly eyed.
I'm sure you could find it online.
I'm sure there's places I could find it, but there's places I don't want to find it, Ian. You've been on the internet, my friend.
Yes, yes, I have. Remind your wife about the Moogle that I found for.
Oh God, not again! No, I refuse. We've been playing Final Fantasy XIV. I don't want a reminder of that.
So, yeah. I ultimately like this was one of those fun, over the top, just out there episodes that not the best writing. Like it's
Like I was
you know
saying,
it,
that was probably that episode's weak point was the writing. And again, I understand they're trying to fit a full idea into, we'll say, a 15-minute time span. But it seemed like a lot. It was just jumping ideas really quick in this one. But I mean, I think that the spectacle of the entire episode really made up for it, though.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
pretty much they give you like 30 seconds of exposition and like build up, and
yeah.
that's it.
And then
Like
they throw you in.
then it's just yeah.
Yeah,
So uh, I think ultimately, well, great episode. So and we talked about some of Trigger's other stuff.
yep.
So we'll go ahead and we don't have to continue on with that one. But next episode then uh, is Cinema Citrus is the studio, and the episode is called The Village Bride. This was a slower episode, like a slower
Yeah.
paced episode, much especially compared to the episode before it, a much calmer, more serene episode. Um,
Well,
and
and more world building, because it explains more, literally more about the world that they're on than I think any other episode did. Um,
mhm.
but I mean,
I will say that I loved the animation style in this.
yes, yes,
I loved the, just the. I was talking to my brother a little bit, and he didn't really care for this episode. I think he
okay.
said it was just too slow or too devoid of really anything for him. But I enjoyed it just for the calm serenity of it,
Well,
and
especially going from a Studio Trigger, coming out of a Studio Trigger episode, it was nice to kind of slow the pace back down a little bit.
yeah.
Like
So
they
I
did a
mean,
really good job of putting these episodes in a good order. I'll say that.
yeah. So I mean, the episode centers around a village bride that's getting married, and there's a group of people that have invade. They basically this is post Clone Wars.
Yep.
Um,
What's
and I would
according to the wiki, it is years after the Great Jedi Purge. So yes, you'd be right.
yeah. Yeah, so it's post Clone Wars. The Empire's still there, but this group of basically pirates or raiders have found an old battle droid ship. So they've reprogrammed battle droids, and they've basically just been like terrorizing the local villagers.
Yeah.
So in order to save her village, this bride has agreed that she would go with them.
Yep.
Uh,
They
she would
originally
go with the
wanted
pirates.
they originally wanted the
Chief.
chief, who was her father, but she's like, no, I'll take his place because he has a sense of duty. He's like, he's still the chief. The people need somebody to lead them. I'll make the sacrifice and I'll do it. So they're literally taking her a day after her wedding.
Right.
So I mean that kind of sets up. They have their ceremony. Everybody's trying to celebrate, and her sister is like, why are we celebrating? There's nothing to celebrate here. This is a wedding that's going to last a couple hours, and then you're going to get taken away. We should be fighting. We should be, protecting our village. It's like, no, no, fighting only begets more fighting. I have to do this. It's a very honorable thing, but you definitely see a difference in opinion there. And her sister ends up, her sister and some of her sister's friends end up storming off. Like, well, we know what we have to do. You know what you have to do. Whatever.
Right. So yeah,
Well, and
it's
you also with this episode, it seemed, at least to me anyway, it seemed like the people of this planet were innately in tune with the Force, but they called it something different. I don't remember what they called it, but they seemed to be able to commune with the very life of the planet itself.
yep. Yeah, so it was a slower episode, but again, the one of the main character is kind of this former Padawan who's kind of trying to find her way, I guess, in the universe type thing, and she's partnered with. We don't actually know if he's a Jedi or not because he doesn't
Like,
ever use a lightsaber. Like
yeah, like
he's more of a sniper.
you get inklings that he's at least very aware of the Jedi and what they do, but you never actually, like, he mentions her master, but
Right.
you never get like the full connection between these two other than they know each other. He knew her master as well. So I mean, but it seems like there's more to him. Again, this is another episode I would love to see a full series on. There's more to him than what meets the eye, but we never get an explanation for it. But it's a nice, especially if they do make this one a series. It's a nice little, like drip feed of information just to keep you interested enough that you want to know more, but not enough they just lay it all out and you're like, oh, well, I've gotten everything I want to out of this.
Right. Yeah. So it was again, it was one of those episodes that I thought was really beautifully done. And one of the things that really appealed to me in the episode was when the Padawan, who I believe her name is just simply F,
Yeah.
uh, uh, engages in combat, because what lightsabers and Star Wars in general is very heavily influenced by in Japan, right? So, um, I've mentioned it several times on the show before, but I do kendo.
Yep.
Kendo is a Japanese martial art, basically
And
the
and,
way
and,
of the
and I
sword.
just collect lightsabers. I'm like human General Grievous. A fine
Right,
addition to my collection.
right. Just with less personality.
And
Um,
less arms too. Less arms too.
True.
Hello there.
Unless he gets near a band table saw.
I mean, well, I'll still have the
Anyway,
same amount of arms, just they'll not be attached.
yes. So yeah. So the F, when she engages in combat, winds up taking a kendo stance, actually. And I was watching the episode and I suddenly became the Leonardo DiCaprio meme where I'm like, just like pointing, and I'm going, they did the thing. So it was really cool to me
Yeah,
as a kendo practitioner,
that's
being
cool.
able to, kind of to see that. And I see those stances in other episodes as well.
Yeah,
So it was a nice shout out for me anyway.
they at least know what they're doing.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Um, so, but yeah, I think it was a very calm episode. The action there wasn't a lot of action. It
Yeah,
was really rather brief. It was just more about the story
yeah,
and the world. And this is again another one of those episodes that I'd be like, "Yeah, I could watch a series about
yeah,
this, like
absolutely.
following F around the universe. Yeah,
Right?
I wouldn't mind seeing that.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. So star power in this one, one of I believe the main villain, I believe, is, well, actually, I'm not 100% sure on who what the character is, but um, uh, Kari Hiroyuki Tagawa
Okay.
played Shang Tsung in the 1990s Mortal Kombat movie.
Really? Okay,
Yes.
yeah, I think that was the main villain then.
Yeah.
That's
So
kind of
yeah,
awesome, actually.
yeah, that was him. They don't have some of the other characters. Um, F is voiced by Karen Fukuhara, who plays Kitana in the Suicide Squad.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah, all right.
Yeah. Um, she doesn't have a huge resume. Actually, it looks like Suicide Squad might have been her first casting.
Oh,
So bravo to her.
there we go.
Let's see. Nicole Sakura as Haru, who's the bride. Um, yeah, not really. Plainly played in Superstore TV show. Not one that I ever really
Yeah, I didn't really
saw.
watch that one. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
aware of
Uh,
it, but never watched it.
yeah, was in Shameless, so
Again, another one that I'm aware of.
right, not exactly one that
Okay.
I'd give a crap about. So anyway, decent, okay star power, but less well-known people, which I
Hmm.
think is generally fine. Like
Yeah,
I was not expecting
like some of the names
when
that
they
were
came
on
out.
here, I was not
Yeah,
expecting at all.
yeah. When I looked up the voice, when I looked up some of the voices, I'm sitting there going, what?
Really? Yeah, same, same. I mean,
So
like it wasn't like I was expecting like maybe a name or two on there to pop. Like, oh yeah, they've been in a couple series I watch. But like some of the names that are on here are people that I don't think have done anime before. I mean, it's not
yep.
like I don't, to my knowledge, Neil Patrick Harris hasn't done anime before.
As far as I know,
Yeah,
no. So uh, yeah. But I think I don't know. There's much else we can say about that
yeah. It's
episode. Like
it's
it was just a good
yeah.
it was a good solid episode.
Yep.
So all right. So that was Cinema Citrus
Yep.
again as a studio.
Oh,
If you want to check out
They
Go ahead.
are. I was just looking at this. They are a studio founded by former Production IG and Bones members, actually. So I mean, so they've
Hmm.
got like maybe not their studio themselves, but the people that are in the studio, they've got a pedigree right there, just between IG
Yeah,
and Bones. Yeah. Huh.
yeah. So some of the more well-known stuff that's on their list, Made in Abyss,
Hmm.
which is a fantastic series. I
Oh
suggest
yeah.
checking it out if you haven't. Rising of the Shield Hero, which is a phenomenal series in my mind.
Yep.
And eagerly awaiting season 2 to come out, which was unfortunately delayed until April next year.
Eh.
But hopefully that just means it's going to be really good. They've also done a few films, Made in Abyss films. They did the Eureka 7 film, or
Oh, okay.
Eureka 7.
Eureka 7, as it's known here in the States, anyway.
Yeah. Um, they did Dot Hack Quantum
See,
as a video animation.
Quantum's one that I haven't seen, actually.
Yeah.
I mean,
But
I like old school Dot Hack person.
yeah. All right. So,
Dot Hack was sword art before sword art was cool.
I mean, no one's arguing with you about it.
No, except people who only like sword art and have never heard of Dot Hack. Sword
I
art's
like Sword
good.
Art.
Dot Hack did it first, though.
I like Sword Art, and everybody pans it as being kind of hackneyed and whatever. But
Yeah.
I get enjoyment out of it, so whatever. I don't
Let's
care.
not. Season 2 didn't happen though. That season 2 of that was
Season 2 was rough.
uncomfortable. It was
Yes.
uncomfortable.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry to any sword
So
art fans out there. Season 2 was
I don't think anyone would like any fans
yeah.
of the series. I don't think.
Even yeah, a lot of the fans I've talked to have said, yeah, season 2 was a whole nother thing. But yeah, like you said, I don't think we have much more to talk about on that episode. So we're going to episode 5, titled "The Ninth Jedi," which this is one of my top favorites on this. Um,
Yep.
just because
And
it go ahead.
we will say that this one, we were talking about powerhouses. This one's probably the most well-known studio on this list, which is Production IG.
Yep.
They have been around since the 80s,
Oh yeah.
so they have decades of titles behind
Yeah,
them.
yeah, they do.
So we'll go into some of their titles in a little bit, but just kind of setting the stage of it's Studio IG. Like it's hard to.
Yeah, it's hard to get a bigger name than that.
Yes.
Except like maybe, Bandai's animation, but I mean, they're Bandai. They've been around forever, and they all these studios, I'm sure Bandai owns them. I mean,
Probably.
but no,
But
Ninth Jedi. It's I like this one because they could take a lot of liberties with stuff, because timeline wise, it's set like generations, just hundreds and hundreds of years after the Jedi have more or less become extinct. They're a complete thing of the past. Um,
right.
like at first, the whole series centers around some Jedi who were summoned to a planet because the leader of this planet is a Jedi and wants to restore the Jedi Order to what they once were. He wants to bring them back. So these Jedi are like, well, can we trust this guy? We don't know anything about him. Are his intentions pure and whatnot? But they're like, okay, well, if you guys do come to this, there will be lightsabers for you. We will construct lightsabers, which at first I didn't know how to feel about that, because that was, at least in classic Star Wars lore, that was the whole thing of, Padawans construct their own lightsaber as part of their training. So I'm like, so they're just going to hand them to them, but they more or less explain that the art of lightsaber crafting has been lost for generations. None of the people that are force sensitive, or in this case, masterless Jedi, know how to do it. It's a lost art. So I'm like, okay, all right, I'll overlook that one. The episode made up for that little thing. I'll tell you that. But
Yeah, and so a little bit more on the timeline. According to what I'm reading, this episode is actually supposed to take place after the Rise of Skywalker. So
okay,
this is after the end of the
yeah,
Skywalker saga.
yep,
And again, set hundreds, if not maybe thousands of years into the future. Again, when Jedi have effectively all but disappeared.
yeah,
So, but anyway, yeah. So the story follows, these Jedi, and really it follows the daughter of the bladesmith, Kara. Uh, which, by the way, the bladesmith's name is Zima, and he's voiced by Simu Liu,
Yep.
who does Shang-Chi. So they're,
It's good to
they're
see Disney is wanting to work with him. You know?
yeah, and I think they've done quite a lot, in keeping people engaged and part of their properties.
Yeah.
Kara, voiced by the Kimiko Glenn, who does the voice of Penny Parker in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. So
Oh, okay. For some reason, you said Penny Parker, and my mind went to Penny from Inspector Gadget. I don't know why.
no, because
It's
that
amazing
was
how this thing works up here.
yeah, no,
It
Penny from
doesn't.
Inspector Gadget was Cree Summer. So
I'm impressed. You know that off the top of your head, actually.
I
It's
am too.
it's it's
Ah,
it's you. It's you.
yes. So anyway, um, yeah. So the show itself, the episode itself is just it's really interesting because again we see these characters, um, you know, these Jedi that are gathering to meet with the Marduk, who is the ruler of this planet,
Ah,
to
yes,
receive their
Marmaduke.
lightsabers. Yes, to receive their lightsabers.
Or it's, the Margrave is what it was.
Yes, sorry,
Yep.
Margrave.
Yep.
Uh, and
Well, see, one thing that's kind of neat in this show is as the sabersmith is making the sabers, his daughter's there, and you get a hint very early on that at the least she's very talented with the lightsaber. I mean, again, this is something that apparently her father's been doing for a long time. So you're gonna pick up a few tricks here and there on how to properly use these things. One thing that's really neat that I don't think they've done in Star Wars canon before is he has actually tempered the Kyber crystals that by default they don't have a set color.
mhm.
Which in established Star Wars canon, you know, this crystal will give you this color. This crystal will give you this color. To get a red crystal, you have to pour hate, malice, and pain into it as a Sith to get it red. You're literally bleeding the crystal. So he tempers these Kyber crystals that the color will reflect the user. So his daughter picks it up, and you see a blade that's very transparent, very hazy, doesn't have an actual color. Which was kind of, I mean, just kind of shows like, anybody can turn on a lightsaber, but you have to be very skilled in the Force to be able to do anything with it. So it does kind of show that she knows what she's doing, but she doesn't know how to be proficient at it. At least not yet anyway. And her father even says, with training, you'll get better at it. You'll know what to do. But as they're talking and he's showing the sabers and whatnot, a ship lands, and two individuals step out, and effectively you come to find out that saber crafting is illegal. So
Well, yeah,
I mean,
because the
kind
Sith
of
still
leads.
exist.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Sith still exist in the universe,
Yep.
and they've basically they hunt down anybody that could theoretically do that could do this. So because again they're trying to stop the Jedi from returning
Yep.
type thing. So but yeah, so these folks attack. The father sends Kara with the sabers, and she runs and has a couple of cool sequences.
Yeah.
Driving a speeder bike backwards through the woods while deflecting blaster bolts.
Yep.
Fight a quick battle on the ice with a lightsaber.
Very quick.
Yeah,
So
very
I mean,
quick.
yeah, like it showcases a little bit, like because you saw her doing some good maneuvers when she was there with her father, but seeing her actually defending herself, this is a very talented, swordswoman.
Hmm.
She knows what she's doing. She knows how to handle one of these things,
Right,
which is cool to see.
right. So anyway, then she winds up chartering a ship. She makes it up to the tower, the space tower, or whatever it is that where they're trying to the Jedi are, and hands them the lightsabers.
Yep. Well, and you
Uh,
come to find out like this entire time, those Jedi have been waiting for the Margrave to show up, and he has a droid there that's kind of like his butler, his assistant, whatever you want to call it. And you come to find out the Margrave was in. It was a mech suit. It wasn't actually a droid. He was in there the whole time because he wanted to make sure these Jedi's intentions were true.
right, and we find out no,
Yeah.
because the everyone ignites their lightsabers and they're all red.
Yeah, every single, all but
All
one,
but
because
yes.
there's one Jedi who, at first I thought he was going to be the main character, because at the beginning of the episode it centered like on him,
Yep.
but when you get this revelation that they're all Sith except for him, you're like, oh, that's why he's one of the good guys. Effectively, they were all Sith who, there were Jedi that were actually summoned to come to this meeting. These Sith intercepted their messages and killed all of them, and effectively took their places here to kill the Margrave, who is one of the last known Jedi.
Right.
So a really epic fight ensues. The Bladesmith's daughter, helps out. The one good Jedi helps out. I mean, they slowly but surely take out all the Sith until there's just one more left, and the Margrave seems to know him. And he's
Yep.
like, look, I know this isn't you. The dark side is not what you are. And you
Yep.
get the impression that he's very recently turned, so he's still kind of teetering. He's more towards the dark, but the Margrave ends up kind of, persuading him, like, look, come with us. We'll make this right. And he ends up siding with him, which was kind of cool.
Yeah, and
Um,
one of the things that I found interesting is we mentioned it earlier. Kara doesn't have a color on her
yes.
lightsaber or
Yep.
on the lightsaber that she holds. And so as the fight goes on, she progressively develops a green color to her saber, showing her movement to the light side.
Yep.
Because basically, what it's signifying is that no one is set in stone as to where they're going to be. You
Yep.
choose your own destiny, type thing.
Yep.
And so she wound up becoming a Jedi. And the character that Tim was just referring to, that had the one that had just recently turned, as he's fighting Kara, his lightsaber starts to change colors as well. If you notice that, it
Yep.
starts to move away from a red and becomes, I believe, it becomes purple.
Yes.
By the time that they finish fighting.
Somewhere Sam
So
Jackson is screaming.
right. So
Well, I
um,
mean, they even established it in Star Wars canon that a purple saber it's a mixture of red and blue.
mhm.
It's as close as you can get while still being called a Jedi to the dark side. But I mean, you're not malicious, but you're more offensive, more attacky, more Sam Jackson. Um,
You could theoretically say they're almost like gray Jedi.
yeah,
Um, they're that in between, right?
right.
They're not Sith, they're not really Jedi, but they're
They're their own
definitely not.
thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Um, so yeah, it's this one was a really good episode for character building, story building, and just fun
Well,
fights.
and new ideas. I mean, like I said,
Hmm.
the tempered crystal thing. Like at first, I was like, I don't know about this whole saber crafting thing, but I liked that idea. But I mean, because it's something that hasn't been done in Star Wars before, and
Yep.
that's why I think the series works as a whole. Because putting Star Wars through the lens of an anime, you get a much different view on how things can be. And this series as a whole, like I thought this was a fantastic idea. The entire thing was a really genius idea. Plus,
Yep.
Star Wars is something that, like, as we can see in all these episodes, it works in an anime setting. I mean, there's been
Yeah.
other animes that have kind of had homages to Star Wars, or did the space thing, or balance between a good power and an evil power that can help or corrupt. So I mean, there's been Star Wars has definitely been influential. It's nice to see it kind of come full circle and give somebody else a chance to say, well, hey, here's our vision of Star Wars. I mean, hence the series is called Visions. It's our
Right.
visions of the Star Wars universe. So it works. It works.
Yeah, and this was definitely one of my favorite episodes. I
Mm.
would rank it very highly.
Yes.
Very beautifully animated,
Yes.
just a
Yes.
fun, a good story, and definitely one that I'm going, I want more of
Yes.
you.
This one I would. I mean, again, being set so far in the future past anything else, I think that this episode has the greatest chance of having more to it because it's a clean slate at that point. Once the Disney
Yep.
buyout of Star Wars happened, all that expanded universe stuff is gone. So this episode literally has a clean slate to work off of, and they can do nothing but grow it from there. So I think
Right.
out of all of them, this is the one that will probably get another series,
I
or at
mean, I
least
hope
another
so.
episode, maybe. Because
Right.
they
I
haven't
hope
announced
so.
the
But
season 2 of Visions yet, but like I mean, especially since again, it is Studio I or Production IG. They know how to make stuff.
Yes. Again, talking about a little bit some of the star power as well. We mentioned a couple of them, but the Margrave, also known as Juro, is Andrew Kishino, who is this is not his first adventure into the Star Wars universe.
Okay.
He is the voice of Saw Gerrera from Clone Wars in the Clone
Oh.
Wars TV show. So
Huh.
he
All
is
right.
he is two characters in the Star Wars universe.
Not
So
bad. Not bad.
yeah, yeah. And then Roden, who is the kid character who Tim had mentioned he was going to be the first. Thought he was going to be the or protagonist.
Yeah.
He does more anime type stuff.
Okay.
But
Greg Chun.
voiced Garo in um, One Punch Man season 2.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, Garo
Not
also
bad,
does
not
the
bad.
voice of Gabriel in the latest season of Sword Art Online, which we were just talking about. So yeah, some decent star power again. Nothing crazy. I mean, you kind of have to be more fans to know who these folks are, but
Right. There's still some recognizable names there at least.
yeah.
Right on.
So all right. I think we can go ahead and jump to the next episode. Oh, sorry, I forgot to mention some of Studio IG's or of Production IG's shows. So obviously, probably one of their most famous for this generation is Ghost in the Shell standalone complex.
Yep.
Beautifully done, fantastic
Yes, absolutely.
series. Um, this one's a shout out to Tim. Also, they did Parappa the Rapper,
Which is an awesome game.
which was a co-production with JC staff.
Yep.
Did Blood Plus, Blood C, which follow Saya the vampire.
Oh yeah,
Let's
I forgot
see.
about that series.
Uh-huh. Eden in the East, Guilty Crown, The Prince of Tennis, if that's your thing.
There we go. And any Prince of Tennis fans out there? Anyone?
Actually, here's one. Here's one. Haikyuu. It's about volleyball. It's a volleyball anime, but
Oh yeah, yeah,
apparently it's
yeah.
hilarious. It's apparently hilarious and fun.
I haven't seen it, but
Um,
I've heard good things.
yeah, yeah, kind of much the same. They also worked on the two newer Fooly Cooly series, so Fooly Cooly Progressive, Fooly Cooly Alternate or
Okay.
Alternative. Um, Moriarty the Patriot, Fina Pirate Princess, which is a newer series, which is a co-production actually with Adult Swim.
Oh, all right.
So yeah, so there's an interesting factoid for you. But anyway, so that's kind of the just some of their titanic pantheon of stuff. Oh, also did worked on co-productions of as much as I hate to say it, the uh, Neon Genesis Evangelion movies. So Death and Rebirth and End of Evangelion back in '97,
Yep.
co-produced with Gynex. I told you, yeah,
Oh, Ava.
yeah.
I love Ava, but it got weird. But I still loved it. But it got weird.
Very,
And,
very
and
weird.
I'm talking original Ava, not the Netflix redub. I did.
I mean,
I didn't.
admittedly, the Netflix.
I didn't dislike the redub, but
Yeah,
so
yeah,
moving on to episode 6,
yes.
which is T0B1 or Toby. This one, like, my God, was the animation cute in this?
Yeah, no,
Like,
it
I
is.
loved it. I absolutely loved it.
It is 100% a like just straight up looks like Astro Boy. Makes you think of
Astro
Astro
Boy, if
Boy.
it was made today.
Yeah. With
Yes.
the exception of the Doctor character that looks like Dr. Light from Mega Man.
I thought that the whole time.
It's like, Dr. Light, why don't you have any arms?
I didn't notice that at first until like maybe 2/3 of the episode that he didn't have arms.
Dr. Light, why don't you have any arms?
Thank you, Lieutenant Diane. But yeah, I didn't notice that. Effectively, this episode centers around a droid, T0B1, and Professor Mitaka. And they're on a planet that's just completely devoid of plant life, or effectively, it's a dead planet. You can't sustain anything here. The professor has a goal to bring plant life and a water ecosystem and rain and everything that comes with it to this planet to effectively make it a viable place to live. And his assistant, T0B1, is there to help him, run calculations, run tests, just kind of help him out around the lab, repair the other droids. Because as you find out in the episode, the professor has no arms. He can't do this stuff. Well, he can't do the stuff with his hands. So,
but Toby, Toby he keeps having these dreams. Do androids dream of electric sheep?
No, they dream of something else apparently.
Apparently. So, what I'm also making reference to the book that Blade Runner is based off of.
Yep.
So, trivia for you folks.
Blade Runner, the novel based on the hit movie.
Moving on.
Anyway, that was a bad joke. Movie adaptation books are weird, all right? Especially when it's a movie based on a book, so they have a book based on the movie based on the book. Anyway. But yeah, he keeps having these dreams of becoming a Jedi, which is interesting in Star Wars canon because droids don't typically dream. When they're shut down, they're shut down. But Toby has dreams and even daydreams and fantasies of being a Jedi, which is really unique in Star Wars canon. This was probably my favorite episode, just because it really did add a lot to the mythos of Star Wars and of the Force itself and how it works. Because most people think, okay, the Force is in all living things. Remember, Master Yoda said, it's in the trees, it's in the rocks. Okay, trees, okay, those are living things. Rocks, not so much, but the Force still flows through them. So it's interesting to see a droid who is entirely composed of inorganic parts, we assume, is able to have this connection to the Force.
I mean, that'd be kind of terrifying if it was composed of organic parts.
Right? Yeah.
There's an implication of that particular episode that would get very dark very quickly.
Right. Well, I mean, you think like General Grievous didn't really have any connection to the Force. He was, mostly a machine with a few organs in him, but technically he could have. But Toby, on the other hand, who is not a giant cyborg monstrosity, has these dreams and fantasies of being a Jedi. So the professor finally goes, okay, there's a Kyber crystal on this planet. If you want to be a Jedi, find that. The Jedi of old, that's what they did, is their Padawans would go out, find a Kyber crystal, and that was part of their training. If you can find it, you can be a Jedi. Kind of half waving off the notion, but half giving him hope at the same time, in my opinion, anyway. So Toby spends, we don't know how long, the next days, weeks, months, whatever, literally scouring the entire planet, everywhere he can think of, to find this Kyber crystal, and he can't find it, and he starts getting really discouraged. But that's when the professor opens up and says, you need to use the Force. The Force will guide you to where you need to be. And Toby, again, being a droid, has no concept of this. He doesn't understand it fully. And he hasn't had any experience with Jedi beyond, his dreams. But, so he goes out with, renewed vigor, searches again, still can't find it, and he goes, he recalls that the professor always told him, stay out of the basement. Don't go in the basement. So he's like, that's the only place on the planet I haven't checked is the basement. So he goes down there and finds that, there's nothing there except a ship. And of course, what does he do? He gets into it, starts pushing buttons, like, oh yeah, let's take off. Gets on the comms and says, hey, this is T0B1. Any Jedi out there, do you read me? And that's immediately picked up by the Sith. Specifically a Sith Inquisitor.
Correct.
Who's like, yeah, we're going to that planet to kind of nip this in the bud. The professor comes in and, is furious that Toby's in there messing with this ship and everything. And for the first time, you see him use the Force. The professor is actually a Jedi. You see him use the Force to rip the door off the ship and throw it off to the side. And then also uses the Force to move a bunch of stones, which was hiding a lightsaber. No Kyber crystal, but a lightsaber. Yep. So, I mean, and Toby's like, Professor, why didn't you ever tell me? The professor was a Jedi the whole time. He could have easily, used the Force to, manipulate his machines, to do his calculations, but, he chose to kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? To kind of suppress that side of himself. Because, Sith Inquisitors, as we see in this episode, are a thing.
Right. So, I mean, yeah, it's a fun, cutesy episode until you like really um I mean, it's fun and cutesy the entire time, but
Yes.
when you start getting into the the more the darker elements, the combat, the battle,
Well, I mean,
because
the professor dies.
yeah,
You don't see it, yeah.
The Sith Inquisitor shows up after Toby sends his message, and uh, basically the professor hides Toby, and then the Inquisitor kills him.
Yep.
Um, but so then again, Toby continues on with his work and manages to finish it, and then the Inquisitor comes back,
Yep.
and
It
that's where
successfully gets plant life and reign on this planet after. I don't imagine it was super long because it's the same Sith Inquisitor, but you get a sense that time has passed at least a little
yeah.
bit. But the Sith Inquisitor shows up, and well, I knew there was something else in this planet. We're back to finish what we started, and then Toby realizes, and if you watch the episode, at least I did anyway. I called it, as soon as he started looking for the Kyber Crystal. Toby has the Kyber Crystal literally inside of him. So I mean, you see him, kind of very anime. He pulls the magic crystal out of his chest, assembles his lightsaber using the Force, and starts battle. And even the Inquisitor's taken back by this. He's like, a droid should not have a connection to the Force, but yet Toby does. So I mean, that's he's a very it's a very again unique episode. Um, but the fight goes on. Toby ends up losing an arm in the fight. He ends up using some of their equipment that's attached to their lab to effectively cause an explosion. And the Sith Inquisitor, like, he's tattered, he's beaten, but he's not down. There was another droid that was with Toby the whole time. C3, I think it was.
Something like that. Yeah.
Um, oh, I don't see it in the notes here. And there's another small droid that, in a very anime style, the two robots combine. The one droid turns into a jetpack for Toby, who ends up delivering the final blow. The Inquisitor. I mean, it was again. It's a very. These are all anime, so I mean, nothing that we're saying in the context of an anime is out of place. But
Right.
so I mean, they end up defeating the Sith Inquisitor, and Toby's like, the professor would want us to keep doing this. We're going to go to more planets. And we're going to continue the professor's dream. So it was a very anime ending, but again, it's an anime. It works. Um, this one I really like. The art style was very, very clean, very pretty, very cutesy. This is one that I would like to see more of.
Yeah, I mean, this one is definitely a very kid-friendly episode.
Yes,
And
very
if
much so.
if we talk about like similar, like the Tatooine Rhapsody with the rock band
Yep.
had, that SD animation, but the story still I don't think was designed for kids.
Yeah.
So it's a good episode, but not one that is. I mean, kids can watch it. There's
Yeah.
nothing bad about the episode,
Yeah.
but this one is really perfect, I think, for
Yeah.
to make a series out of aimed at kids.
Yep.
So
Absolutely, I agree. I mean,
yeah,
see here.
go ahead.
I was gonna say, I mean, there weren't really a whole like as far as the credits we're seeing here. Toby was Jaden Waldman, and Mitaka, the professor, was Kyle Chandler. Those are at least on the page I'm looking on, those are the only two voices credited. Apart from the Inquisitor, everybody else was a droid, so not a whole lot of voice actors in that. I'm curious who did the Inquisitor in that though.
Yeah, I'm not sure on that. Let's see. So
Oh, excuse me.
Kyle Chandler is actually a relatively well known actor.
Yeah,
Let's
it
see.
doesn't look like he's got
God,
any other anime on his resume though.
Yeah, Dr. Mark Russell from Godzilla, the latest Godzilla movies,
Yep. I thought he looked
Godzilla King of the
familiar. Yeah.
Monsters. Yeah, yep. Let's see. I know I've seen him in some other stuff. In The Wolf of Wall Street, apparently as
Oh
one of
yeah.
the FBI agents, I believe. Argo, Zero Dark 30, Friday Night Lights, the TV series. I think
Okay.
he may be the coach in that.
Maybe I haven't seen that. I'll be honest. It's a sports
Yeah,
show. I probably didn't watch it.
yeah, I'm the same way. I'm just yeah. So,
Yay, sports
no, I
ball.
mean, yeah, decent showing, good
Yeah.
good resume on him, but yeah, no, a fun cutesy episode that I thought was really well done.
Yes. Yep. There was enough world building that I felt satisfied at the end of it. Um, but there was enough potential for it that I could see that one continuing.
Yep, I would agree.
That's probably
So,
the one episode to me that had a clear cut beginning, middle, and end. It again, it's like having a movie that teases something else at the end where you know there could be more, but at the same time is also good as a small self-contained thing. This is, I think, one of the only ones to me that was clear cut. It could stand as a 15-minute thing. I would like it to get a series. I think that animation style is really nice. Um, but I wouldn't be dissatisfied with this episode if it didn't continue.
yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, but I think that's a fair shake.
yeah.
Um, so this is Science Saru is the studio. Um, Again, not a whole lot. We talked a little bit about some of their stuff earlier, but not a whole lot in their pantheon. So Japan Sinks, Space Dandy. They helped on a couple episodes. They weren't the major studio, but they
Yeah.
are. They did a couple of episodes. Devilman Crybaby. Yeah, probably not anything else that's major that most folks would know about.
I
So,
mean, they did Crayon, Shin Chan, Intense Battle, Robo Dad Strikes Back,
well, yes,
Yokai
yes.
Watch the movie. Um,
Yeah,
there's
I
any
don't know
that
that anybody that watches Yokai Watch is watching our show
probably
or
not.
listening.
Yeah, I'm just the same thing. Oh, they did the promotional episodes for OKKO.
Huh,
Okay.
interesting.
I'm just kind of looking through, seeing if there's anything that I recognize on here. Oh, they did 2 short films for Star Wars Visions.
Wow, that's impressive.
I
All
know.
right then.
Sorry, obvious troll is obvious. Um,
Right. All right. So, moving on. Next episode. This is another Trigger episode. This is their second Trigger episode. This is called The Elder, and this is
a good
a
episode.
180 from
Oop.
the other Trigger episode. If the
Yeah.
other Trigger episode was an acid trip, this one is like a nice cup of hot chocolate on a cold day.
Yes, it was like I didn't realize, like, when I saw every episode, we should say, the opening title tells you what studio did it. And it
Hmm.
said, Studio Trigger, and I'm like, "Oh, awesome. We're going to get more of their classic stuff." This was when you think Studio Trigger, you think over the top stuff. This was very uncharacteristically Studio Trigger, but not in a bad way. I thoroughly enjoyed this episode, and I liked the animation in it as well, very much actually.
Yes, the animation I think in this one kind of follows more of the Darling in the Franxx thing, which has a more realistic looking characterization set.
Oh
Not
yeah,
and it's even actually less anime style like
yeah,
characters than even Darling in the Franxx. Like very generally decent, normal proportioned, don't have like the huge anime eyes.
yeah. It was
Um,
it was realism in anime, if that makes any sense.
yeah, yeah. So, yeah. So this episode follows a master and his Padawan who are traveling the Outer Rim. Apparently, this master has been all over the Outer Rim, knows all of a lot of the planets. His Padawan kind of teases him a little bit, based, saying, you've been to every planet, you must hold the record for the most planets visited among the Jedi.
Right.
So it is very much a well-traveled Jedi. And I'm going to pause here to say that the Master is voiced by none other than David Harbour.
Yep.
Who plays Hopper in the Stranger Things TV series.
Don't forget Red Guardian.
Red Guardian. Yes, I was going to say Crimson Dynamo, and I'm like, no, that's not right.
Different character.
Red Guardian in the Black Widow movie. Unfortunately, Hellboy in that, or did a decent Hellboy, but the movie itself was not good.
Hellboy was good. The movie was not.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But yeah, David Harbour. I mean, like, when I was scrolling through the cast list, like, now that I know that, I can hear it. But, like, that's one of the names that I did not, like, well, him and Neil Patrick Harris were probably the two names that I did not expect in this show at all.
Yeah, I would concur with that. Yeah, anyway, so they're traveling the Outer Rim, and he feels a disturbance in the Force. So they go to a planet to follow this disturbance, and it's a very small, a very quick disturbance, just something very intense, but very brief.
Yep.
So they travel to this planet, they land, they come across a village, and they go, and he goes and starts talking to the villagers. And
he's been here, the Master has been here before.
Yes, he knows the planet. He knows the culture, knows the food, knows knows the flora and the fauna.
Yep.
So he speaks to the some villagers, and they find out that a ship had landed there not that long ago that just had an elder man in it who went up a mountain. So they are very much trying to, they're not sure about him, so they want to investigate, but at the same time, they don't want to leave the guy's ship because they might miss him. So the Master agrees to stay at the ship, and he sends his apprentice, whose name is Dan, up the mountain to find to see if he can find the elder. And Dan does find the elder up on the mountain, who turns out to be a Sith. And he is I want to say his design is almost like stereotypical, like old Japanese anime guy, like very slight, bow-legged, kind of hunched over, bald, almost like wilted pumpkin type head.
Yes.
But
wilted pumpkin head. Wow. But no, yeah, I mean, he is every old bad guy in anime that doesn't have an alternate form.
Right. In fact, it made me think of a character, and I can't remember the name of the anime, but you'll remember. It was one of those ones, like weird one-offs from the 90s, early 2000s that we watched. It was like a movie. It was like the really old crotchety guy that was always after the women. I
was gonna say you're not really shortening the list here, Ian.
Yeah, I know. The
classic are you talking about piss on you and the horse you rode in on? Yes. Oh God, what was that? Demon City Shinjuku.
Yes.
Like he was
like, that's not right.
Very reminiscent of that guy. Yes. So I have that on VHS somewhere. So.
Major obscure callback.
Yes, Demon City Shinjuku. Wow.
Yeah.
Man, you used to quote that guy all the time.
We did a lot of things all the time.
Yes, we did.
So, yeah. Anyway, so they meet up with the Master, and you come to find out that he's a Sith, and he has two.
Well, he's a Sith, but he's not a Sith.
Yeah.
Well, like looking at the wiki page for it here, it actually says this is set centuries after the death of Darth Bane and the initial extinction of the Sith. it's takes place obviously before Phantom Menace. So this is
Right.
after the Sith at large are mostly not a thing anymore. Hello, kitty.
Right.
That's another anime.
Every every, every bloody time.
Every time we record, your cat has to make an appearance. At least one of them does.
Yes. Well, she's also needy. Anyway, so runs into so that basically he's a an evil force wielder for lack of a better term.
Yeah, there we
And
go.
I liked the design of his lightsabers because they were almost like
Yes.
two short blades, like two wakizashi type, or wakizashi or tanto type blades, just
Right.
shorter lightsabers.
But I had
Um,
a very unique fighting style compared to the Jedi that we see.
yes, yes, I would concur with that completely. Kind of yodered and hopped around like a frog,
Yeah, he
and
did.
was generally a cool character. Um, but Yeah, so anyway, it gets into combat with Dan, defeats him, and then the master shows up and starts fighting him. And it's very obvious that the master is very talented. Which I'm gonna pause real quick to do a throwback, not really a throwback, but a call out. The Elder's voice actor is Mr. James Hong,
Yep.
who is very famous for playing Asian type characters. You
Well,
would know
maybe
his
because
face,
he's Asian.
right? I mean, you would know his
Asian
face if you
type
saw it.
characters. Come on, Ian.
I know, but I'm saying you would
Well,
know his face,
it's
and
like
if you saw it.
saying Ken Watanabe plays a lot of the same characters.
Yes.
That's what you
So
were saying.
yeah. So you would know his face if you
Yeah,
saw it.
he's very recognizable.
Yes, exactly. Kung Fu Panda plays Poe's dad, the duck or goose or whatever he is.
Oh yeah, he does. I was trying to place where I knew his voice from, because I recognize the face, but I'm like, no, I know his voice from somewhere. It's Poe's dad.
Yep. Yep. Poe's dad, plays again in a multitude of different things. He was a character in Star Wars Rebels. He was a character in regular show. He played in Mike Tyson Mysteries as Professor Hong. Um,
Of course he did.
yes, of course he did. Let's see, is in Agents of Shield. Um, just in everything. Plays in that really sadly awful R.I.P.D. movie with
I see.
um,
Ryan
Ryan
Reynolds and
Reynolds
the
and Jeff
dude.
Bridges.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jeff Bridges.
I see.
Um,
R.I.P.D. Like the previews for that looked really good. It's a shame the movie apparently wasn't that good. I still want to see it, but
I saw it. I mean,
worth
I would
worth
not
the
say that
rent.
it's worth a rent, or see if you can find it free streaming somewhere
All right.
or bootleg it. Um,
This podcast does not support bootlegging.
correct. We'll edit that in post. No, we
Wait,
won't.
I'm supposed to edit this stuff? Crap.
Right. So anyway, so the master gets into the fight with him and ultimately defeats him. In a very spectacular style, really.
Yes, like I like the final blow is something that like I don't think you've seen in canon universe Star Wars, but it's something that I wonder why more people don't do that. When their sabers are clashing, he shuts his saber off, which allows him to pass through, and then immediately turns it back on. Which I
Yep.
mean that's why has it like do you see anybody do that in the movies?
Not
No,
really.
yeah, I can't think of anything.
I think maybe in a non-canon offshoot series or short or something like that,
Maybe,
they
yeah.
show some folks doing that. But it's actually, I think I don't know why it's kind of playing out in my head, but it's almost something that happens regularly in that style of combat,
Right.
where they're constantly just trying to like one up each other type deal.
Right.
And yeah, so um anyway, uh sorry, cats are fighting. So yeah, but the elder, not quite dead, winds up detonating his ship, so they can't really search it or get any information. And then he
Yep.
crumbles into clay,
Yeah,
dirt.
which is something we've never seen a dark side force user do. But I mean, it looked cool.
Yeah, and I mean, in reality, we don't know if was even human to begin with.
That is
Like,
true. That is true. I mean,
you know,
he
there.
looked human, but again, there's aliens that look human in Star Wars. He was part of the Pumpkinheadites,
Yes,
the,
the pumpkin.
the
Yes,
pumpkin people of Vinius 5.
of Gordo, Gordo 7.
The pumpkin people of Gordo 7.
Yes.
If there are any
Uh,
pumpkin people from Gordo 7 listening, we apologize for these stereotypes that we have just made about your entire race. We're sorry.
yeah, yeah. Sorry,
But
but
but yeah.
yeah. So the episode very cleanly animated.
Yes.
The choreography in the fights was beautiful. And just interesting characters
Yeah.
in all. Like, I wanted to know more about the master and even
Yes.
Dan
Yes. Same.
and the elder. Like, it leaves you in a cliffhanger, and you're like, damn it, I want
Yeah.
more. So, you know, I want to say, for me, this is my favorite episode
Yeah.
of the anthology.
Okay.
Like, just
It was a good one.
it
I would definitely give you that.
yeah, it was really good. If you actually look at, like, IMDb's ratings, it's, I believe, the second highest rated episode.
What's the top
Um,
one? Out of
the
curiosity.
Ronin,
Okay.
the duel.
Yeah.
So and it's leading by not much. So
Yeah.
IMDb gives the duel an 8.6. They give this one an 8.3.
Out of curiosity, where did they put the Ninth Jedi?
Oh, I'm sorry. This the Ninth Jedi is actually the first. It's 8.8.
Oh, okay. See, I know good stuff, Ian.
Yeah,
Sometimes.
sometimes. Some people, I know several people who would say that our love of Studio Trigger would say that we don't love good things, but
We love you, Cody. Shout out to Cody on here.
yes,
He does not like Studio Trigger at all.
it's not his cup of tea. He's
It's
not in
not,
well,
yeah.
yeah, he's not into just the absurdity of it all
And I
and that kind
am.
of stuff.
I love
Yes,
chaos.
yes. So, but anyway, yeah, yeah. This episode was
It
just
was good. It
so
was really good.
good.
Well, and like I think the clean animation style of it, like, color me crazy, but it seems like Disney's going to look at that more than they are anything else that's hyper stylized. That just
Yeah, like,
like
the
that
twins
seems
is
like
not.
yeah, the
Yeah,
twins
the
is not gonna
twins is
it's not
not
gonna
gonna
get a
get
full series.
get a series. The Village Bride could get a get
Yeah,
a full series. The Ninth Jedi,
I
The
hope gets
Elder,
a good series.
right? The Elder, even Toby could potentially get a
Yeah,
series, even though it was middle of the pack,
yeah,
but
but yeah, I think the Elder, like, just based on its art style, I think Disney would look more at that because it's closer to what they used to do. But
yep,
anyway, but yeah, all in all, one of the best episodes.
yeah, I would concur. But so. I don't know if there's really anything else. Again, that was Studio Trigger, so we already kind of gave a shout out to their properties
Yep.
before. Um, so I think we can probably jump over to the next episode, which is
Lapin
Lop
Ocho.
and Ocho, which sounds like something that you would find at a hole in the wall Mexican restaurant.
Hey, can I get an order of Lapin Ocho?
Yeah, make that
Or
two,
a
please.
let's say a Mexican beer. I don't know why, but that just the title just makes me think of a Mexican beer, and I don't know why. Like, I'm not a big beer guy either, so
Oh, that's fair. Yeah, so this one, studio, Geno Studio, actually, is the animation studio. Relatively new studio in the game, only formed in 2015. But this episode I thought was beautiful. Like, the animation was fun.
yeah, they really don't
The
have much under their belt looking at it.
Yeah, they have Golden Kamuy,
Yeah,
which is apparently a very highly rated series. It's got at least 3 seasons. So and it's an adaptation of a manga. Um, so I guess that's good enough
yeah,
to keep 'em going. So
right.
um, yeah, but yeah, so Lop and Ocho, the show follows the episode follows the titular Lop, who is a basically a bunny girl.
Hmm?
Um, as she lives on, she's on this planet that's basically been taken over by the Empire,
Yep.
or rather, they invited the Empire there because the planet was not very industrious before, and so the Empire they came in under the auspices of wanting to help the planet. In reality, they're kind of strip mining the place.
Plot twist: they didn't.
Right. And so Lop is an escaped slave who gets picked up by a very affluent family. The daughter of the head of the family is
The
named Ocho,
boss.
the boss.
Yep.
The daughter is named Ocho, so that's where you get the two title characters, Lop and Ocho. So she gets adopted, basically. Lop gets adopted by the family, and then we time jump 7 years, 8
7
years,
years.
I
Yep.
think.
Yep.
Yeah,
7
7
years.
years. And we time jump to the boss basically blowing up an Imperial factory and
Yeah.
then getting into a fight with his daughter. The boss feels like they need to kick the Empire out. They're not good for the planet. They're not. Things are not going to be good.
Yeah.
And Ocho is arguing, no, we need the Empire. Like they're going to, they're helping us. Like, why don't you see that? And that kind of stuff.
Yep. And
Um,
so you already get the internal family strife.
yes. So that's the whole premise of the episode is the familial strife.
Yep.
Um, ultimately Ocho winds up joining the Empire. She discards her family
Yeah.
to join the Empire to help them. Lop winds up, sticking with her adopted father, who she calls father,
Yep.
dad, uh,
Papa.
papa, yeah. Um, but what you come to find out is that that family was trained by ancient Jedi.
Yep.
There was an ancient Jedi who came to the planet, trained that family, and the Jedi ultimately died on that planet, but passed down his lightsaber
Yep.
throughout the years to that family. And so this father, because his one daughter has forsaken him,
Yeah.
passes on the lightsaber to his adopted daughter Lop. Um, and I'll just say this right now: Star Wars needs more bunny girl Jedi. Um,
Yes. Yes. I agree.
it- I mean, the character is very beautifully animated. The struggle of the family, and just like the whole, it's less physical strife,
Mm.
except for the titular fight scene.
Yep.
The climactic
Definitely
fight
more
scene.
emotional. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was a more emotional episode than it was aimed at being an action
Yes.
episode. It kind of harkens back to the Village Bride. Like there's not a lot of action, it's more emotional, which I
Yes.
liked. I felt really.
I will say Lop's lightsaber. I absolutely love that. The first time she turns it on, and you see the script on the blade.
Yes.
I said, okay, that's cool.
Yeah, and where her lightsaber is slightly different because it actually winds up shaping like a katana.
Yes.
Like, so it's got kind of the notched, angled
Yep.
end tip of it, and it's got a bit of a curve.
Yep.
And so yeah, it's a really good episode, very very strong characters, and it's one of those episodes that, again, you don't need the action.
Yeah.
The action is a nice it's a it's a nice component of it, but
Mhm.
it's not the central focus.
Yeah. Oh,
It's
very, very
really
much
the
so.
action. The action is there only to really heighten the strife in the family.
Well, because you even see throughout the series, you see the boss only has one good eye, and his biological daughter, as they're fighting, she ends up taking his other good eye, and he says something along the lines of, "My regret is I'll never be able to look at you two again,"
Right.
because he has no good eye now. Um, but you end up, there ends up being a fight between the adopted daughter and the biological daughter, um, Lop and Ocho, and Ocho delivers I'm sorry, Lop, excuse me, delivers what we think is a fatal blow, and then in classic anime bad guy fashion, you see Ocho like rising up off the cliff fell off of on a ship, glaring down, and then taking off.
Right.
So I mean, yeah, it was. This is another one that it leaves it. Most of these do, I should say, and I shouldn't say another one. Most of these episodes do kind of leave it open. This one very much so. Like I could see them maybe doing, something similar to Star Wars Rebels, but centralizing it on this planet. Because I mean, we only get like a small snippet of one town on this planet. I mean, we don't know how big the planet is, but you effectively get one snippet of one family dealing with stuff in their town. That I think that'd be interesting to see Lop trying to get the whole planet to follow what her father's ideologies. Because Lop herself agrees with them that the Empire's not good.
Yeah.
And ultimately, she just wants their family to be together and be happy again.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of actually has some of the similar themes as Twins, the Twins episode. The familial dissidence, the the struggle between them, and then ultimately the character trying to the one character trying to reunite the family.
Itty.
So yeah, I mean, I loved the animation style.
Yeah,
Again,
absolutely.
Bunny Girl Jedi is fantastic. It's just, it's not even just that she's a cute character. It's a fun twist on things.
Exactly.
They really don't feature a lot of these, otherworldly type Jedi in the series.
Right.
So,
I mean, look at as far as canon, look at your mainline Jedi's. Human, 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 human. Apart from the prequels where you had the Jedi Council and, of course, Yoda in the original trilogy and in a lesser degree the sequels, it's mainly about the human Jedi's.
Right. I mean, you've got some of your other ones.
I guess like, Jedi is the plural of Jedi.
Yeah. So, Kit Fisto.
Wee Fisto.
Right. Right. Kit Fisto.
Master Plo Koon.
Plo Koon, Kiara-Mundi, Aayla Secura. Shakti.
I mean, we can't forget our girl.
Apparently, you forgot our girl. Ahsoka?
Ahsoka! Wow! I'm tired. We can't forget our girl Ahsoka. Ahsoka Tano. But I mean, for the most part, as far as live action goes, it's about the human Jedi. I mean, in the animated stuff, yes, we've gotten some of the aliens, but I guess technically even the humans in that are aliens. But some of the non-human Jedi is really relegated mostly to background characters or feature in the animated series. So it'd be nice to get a whole animated series about Bunny Girl Jedi, and even call it that Bunny Girl Jedi.
Yes. So some of the star power in this one, not as well known actors. Lop is played by Anna Cathcart, who is a Canadian actress, younger girl. Doesn't have a whole lot of credits under her name, mostly a lot of Disney stuff. Ocho is Hiromi Dames.
Okay.
Who again, I don't really know much about her.
Not super
apparently she was in the Winx Club a lot.
Oh God. I'd say this was an upgrade for her.
You played Cyberpunk. She was in that as a character named Blue Moon.
Not ringing any bells. Must have been like a side mission or something.
Yeah. Plays Luther in DC Superhero Girls.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Not much else.
Not much else that I think folks would recognize.
Okay.
Apparently she was in Bill Nye for Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Bill,
back in the 90s.
Bill. Sorry. It's one of the kids. I'd say as one of the kids probably if it was the '90s series.
Yes. So this one I thought was interesting. The boss, who's actually his name is Yasaburo.
Okay.
Is voiced by Paul Nakauchi.
Okay.
Or Nakauchi, sorry. And when I watched the episode, I was like, damn, his voice sounds really
Yeah,
familiar.
it really does.
It's Hanzo from Overwatch.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I can hear it now. I can
Yeah.
hear it now. Yeah.
Yeah. So when I looked him up, I went, hell, that's where I heard him.
Right. Good old Hanzo.
Yes. So,
But then, like Ian said, Geno Studio, they are a relatively newer studio. As far as television series, they've got under their belt Kokoku Moment by Moment, Golden Kamui, and Pet, which just came out last year. Um, and then they're working on the genocidal organ film, or they worked on the genocidal organ film. It was taken over by Manglobe, though. So it looks like they started it, somebody else finished it. So they don't, and then of course obviously Star Wars Vision. So they don't really have a whole lot, um, really under their belt yet. But they've really only been around, let's see, since 2015. So I mean, it's a 6-year-old studio at this point. Um,
I think if they continue stuff like what they've done so far with Golden Kamui and this episode,
yeah,
I think they've got a bright future.
I think so too. Absolutely.
Yeah. Again, this is another one of those shows that I would watch a series about it, even if
Yes.
it's just one season, so
Yeah.
long as they finish the story,
Yes. Absolutely.
I would watch it. But anyway,
I agree.
all right,
I agree.
all right. So, moving on to the very last episode in the anthology, Akakiri. Which is another Science Saru episode, which again Science Saru did Toby or
I was
T0B1,
gonna say,
which was the
yeah,
Astro Boy one. So this one
vastly,
is
vastly different animation styles. These two.
yes,
Yes.
completely, totally different. Akakiri is really kind of a. It's like it's hard to even describe the animation style
Yes.
of it. It's
Yeah.
very kind of stylized. Again, reminds me of Devilman Crybaby.
A simplistic stylized is the best way, but I mean, even that's doing it an injustice. I mean, each one of these episodes is different than the last, but I think this one is probably the most different. Apart from, so the first episode and the last episode are the most different animation styles compared to everything else.
Yeah, I would say that is very accurate.
Yeah.
So uh, this show or this episode follows Subaki, a Jedi who returns to a planet to help a princess basically try to take back her throne from her aunt who wound up being a Sith
Yep.
and killed her father, the Emperor, and ousted her. So Subaki comes back to help the princess, whose name is Misa. And so they kind of go on a journey to reach the palace together. It's a shorter episode.
Yeah.
Um, so they're part of the whole thing. Part of the episode is really just like that backstory, the exposition type stuff. Subaki keeps getting these visions and bad headaches that kind of almost incapacitate him.
Yeah.
Um, and so he's out on the planet trying to help. And so they travel to the capital city, work to infiltrate um, the palace, and
Yep.
they do, and that's when they get they show a little bit more backstory. Definitely hints at Subaki and Misa being a thing,
Right. Yeah.
which is definitely a no for the Jedi type deal.
Unless you're Anakin. Um,
Right. Or I mean, even Obi-Wan had a thing with,
well, I mean, that's true, and it depends. If this is more like old Republic era, that wasn't as big of a deal back then.
Yeah.
Not something that they like super encouraged, but wasn't as they tended to overlook it back in the day.
Yeah. Yeah, I would concur with that.
Yep.
So anyway, uh they have so they get confronted by the new empress, who is a Sith,
Yep.
also a behemoth of a woman.
Yeah.
Um, you know, built like a brick shit house. Pardon my French.
Right.
um, so just a a
A
big
mountain of a woman, absolutely.
yes, yeah. So Tsubaki engages in a fight with this woman. Meanwhile, Misa gets captured, and they. Long story short, in the course of the fight, Tsubaki accidentally kills Misa because they've put a guard's mask on her and kind of shoved her into the fight.
Well, if you notice, her aunt, she's not touching the ground. Her aunt is using the force to make her go towards him.
Yes.
Yep. I noticed that because like when I was watching, I go, why is that guy floating? And then again, you see Tsubaki strike her down, thinking that it's one of the bad guy's minions, and I'm like, oh, that's why they were floating. They weren't actually willingly going towards him. And you
Yeah.
see that it is in fact Misa. And this episode had a twist that I wasn't expecting. You end up seeing Tsubaki, the Masago was the aunt's name. You end up seeing Masago effectively say, we can still save her. She's dead but not gone. Join me as my apprentice. We'll save her, and then you and I can rule the galaxy. And at first you think Tsubaki's not going to do it, and then he turns, and using the dark side of the force, they end up reviving her, Misa, before she's fully gone. And then you see Tsubaki and Evil Ant Lady get into her ship and take off.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a Sith apprentice. Like I did not see that coming in this one. But I'm glad
Definitely
we got one episode where you see somebody fall to the dark side. Because you got one
yeah,
where somebody
definitely
came
one of
back
the
from it.
definitely one of the darker episodes.
Yeah.
Probably the darkest episode, and it's interesting how they end capped the series with Sith,
Yeah.
really, because it starts with the Sith and it ends with the Sith.
Yep.
Maybe there's a metaphor in there, I don't know. um but yeah, I mean, it was a good episode, not one of my favorites.
Yeah. Yeah. That's kind of where I was at.
And I don't even want to say it's because of the story or the way it ended. There was just something about it that just didn't quite click with me.
Yeah.
I would I would probably rate it maybe my least, if not next to least favorite of the.
This one was probably my least favorite. And again, it wasn't a bad episode. There was something missing from it, and I can't articulate what that is. But there's just something that all the other episodes had that this one didn't. I mean,
Yeah.
I liked the twist at the end, um, but just I don't know. It's just it was lacking something, and I don't know what.
Yeah. Yeah, there was, I mean, it was I mean, beautifully animated. I shouldn't say decently. It was
Yeah,
very beautifully animated. It had some interesting characters. I don't know. Maybe it was because I felt rushed. You just didn't get to see a whole lot of information about the characters, like
yeah,
each character. Like, you kind of got some of the exposition with like Misa and Tsubaki, and you really have to kind of infer what's going on between them.
yeah. Because I mean, like
But
it's implied that it could have been romantic, but it could have also just been friendship. Like
yeah,
he obviously cares for her in some way, and like him going to the dark side to bring her back to life makes me think that it was a romantic feeling. But again, you're not really given any of that. And I mean that's kind of the running theme with these anthology episodes is you're not given the full picture. But it seemed like this one didn't even give us the photo frame to put the picture in, you know?
yeah, yeah. It was a harder one to to kind of get into, I
Yeah.
think.
But did
'Cause
have one of the most well known voice actors in this entire series, though, Mr. George Takei himself,
yes,
who played a
as
sidekick.
yes, who played a sidekick,
Yep.
Senshu.
Yep.
Misa is voiced by Jamie Chung, probably a less well-known actress, but probably also a Disney veteran.
Yep.
Played the voice of Gogo Tamago from Big Hero 6. Then Henry Golding is the voice of Tsubaki. Lesser known actor,
I say,
but
where do I know him from?
plays Snake Eyes in the new Snake Eyes movie.
Oh, okay. Because I'm looking at the picture of him, I'm like, I know this guy from somewhere.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, really, is in the movie or the show Crazy Rich Asians.
Right.
Yeah, that's probably the that's probably it. Masago's Lorraine Toussaint. Um, again, probably not necessarily something that you or I, nor I actually would really probably know her from. Um, let's see, Into the Badlands as in TV series.
Okay.
The Fosters, Rosewood, um, Orange is the New Black.
Okay. I know that one at least.
Yeah, but I imagine you're probably like me and you wouldn't know the character if I named the character.
Right. Yeah.
Um, did a stint on Grey's Anatomy, Friday Night Lights, Saving Grace, Ugly Betty. She was in Ugly Betty.
Okay. That show lasted like one season.
Um, I think it lasted more, a few
So,
of them anyway. But anyway, yeah. So it's hard. That one is going to be harder for you to nail down. She's kind of one of
yeah.
those characters that you really have to follow her career to know her.
Right.
So
Yeah. It seems like it.
um, yeah. So and again, this one was done by the oh now I'm forgetting the studio.
Science Saru.
Science Saru. Thank
Yep.
you. So yeah, I like the episode. I just I just don't know that I'd be willing to watch anything
Yeah.
if Disney. If you're going to make it one series out of any of these, please don't pick that one.
Right. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
um. So, but that covers all of the episodes of Star Wars Visions
Yep.
in our spoiler-tastic episode. So, final verdict.
Yes.
Fantastic job, Lucasfilm and Disney. You have successfully blended two genres and two mediums that obviously Tim and I love with
Yep.
Star Wars and anime,
Yep.
and you did it beautifully, just beautifully. You have me wanting more. Um, and I would say that thank you for releasing them all at once as well, because I think they would not have been as successful had it been a once a week type deal, since they are all disconnected from each other.
And also much shorter.
Yes.
I would
So
say I agree. All in all, I would give the series probably a 9 out of 10. Only because that one complaint I had is that there wasn't. Again, it's an anthology. I understand how those work, Ian. Um, there wasn't any kind of overarching narrative, which I know a lot of people were kind of taken aback by. But my only real complaint is that so many of the episodes start building the world, and I'm just worried that the episodes that may get a full series are going to be the ones that I didn't want to have a full series, and the ones I wanted I will never see more of. That's so. I mean, it's a complaint, but it's an unfounded complaint. But that's what I do. I make complaints just based on pure bias and refusal to listen to other people. But
right.
all in all, though, yeah, solid 9.5 out of 10. A lot of really strong showing in this. A lot of really unique ideas, specifically from the Star Wars front of things. A lot of really unique and brand new takes and ideas. I mean, like the show is. This is Star Wars through the vision of someone else, and I think it was a phenomenally executed idea. I would even go so far as to say that I would not be unhappy if Marvel did a Vision season 2 with 9, 10, whatever, entirely new, unconnected to season 1 episodes. I'd be okay with that if they went out and got some other anime studios who want to throw their hat in the ring to do their own vision of Star Wars, I would not be sad about that. I would like to see several of these episodes get whether it's a series, a comic, a novel, whatever have you. I would like to see a lot of these continue, but I also, again, wouldn't be sad if we just got season 2 with all new stuff. So.
Yeah, kind of the love, death, and robots treatment. Which I'll agree to that with one exception.
Okay.
Where you said novel. The only reason I would not want a novel is these are all so beautiful
Okay,
and
yes,
visual.
yes.
I would want
A
something
visual
that I
medium.
could see and just feel and just see the beauty of it, because these are all
Yes. Okay. I
beautiful.
take the novel thing back. A visual novel would be okay though.
Yes. Yes.
Yep. I agree.
So,
I agree.
yeah, even a comic, not even a comic book, even a manga,
Yeah.
if they wanted to stick with the Japanese themes. But
Right.
I mean, Marvel is not unfamiliar with manga.
That's very
They've
true.
done
They've
they've
got a
done
manga.
manga.
They've got a Marvel mangaverse.
Yep.
With a,
They've got. I mean, Marvel does Star Wars. They do the Star Wars comics.
yep.
They can do this.
Yep.
Like, yeah. So Disney, Lucasfilm, please, like, we want more.
Give us
Like, this
more.
was.
Give us more. This was an unexpected treat.
Yes, yes. To for me anyway, it was kind of a rough week with just a lot of stuff going on, and it was a nice way to really kind of cap it off and kind of help me get through the week. So
See, and
bravo,
for
thank
me,
you.
it was a nice treat as well. Wednesday, we were unexpectedly told that we would not be working Thursday or Friday. So it was kind of oh yay, 2 days off. Oh, 2 days I'm not getting paid. So it was a nice little distraction from the impending dread of being an adult.
Yes, yes. So um, yeah, I think that's gonna be about it. You know, arigato gozaimasu, Disney and Lucasfilm
uh,
and all of the studios.
a Spider-Man roll. Um, I had one of those today. Actually, I had a Spider-Man roll and an onion soup today.
For dinner, I had chicken katsu and rice. So,
Okay, I did get a
uh,
side of hibachi noodles as well.
okay, well there you go.
And my
But
favorite little
yes,
sushi place nearby. So
nice.
so glad they're
But
still
yes, so
around.
thank you again very much, Marvel, Lucasfilm, or I'm sorry, not Marvel. Well, we'll say thank you to Marvel anyway, just
Yeah,
because.
we like Marvel.
Thank you, Marvel. Yeah, thank you, Marvel, for
Thank you,
being
Marvel,
you.
just
Thank you.
for existing.
Yeah, thank you, Lucasfilm and Disney for this. And again, a big shout out and thank you to the studios that were involved in this.
Absolutely, yes.
Kamikaze Doga, Studio Colorido, Trigger, Cinema Citrus, Production IG, Science Saru, and Geno Studio. You guys all knocked it
Yes.
out of the park. Like, this was
Absolutely. Absolutely.
this was fantastic. So I think that's probably going to do it for us tonight, folks. You've heard us gush probably for a couple hours now.
I was gonna
So
say
thanks for sticking in
this was
there,
longer than
sticking
our
with us.
last couple spoiler episodes. Actually, a little over 2 hours actually. So
Yeah. So thank.
it's been nice, getting to finally gush about this. Just shower Disney and Lucasfilm with our praise of this. Great idea. Seriously, whoever came up with this at Disney, give them a pay raise, give them a bonus. Do something nice for them because they nailed it for you guys.
Yeah, you can give them money to do it again.
Yes, absolutely.
Uh, yeah. So, um, yes, thank you very much to those folks, and thank you for listening as well, for sticking with us and joining us as we share with you our fandoms and our non sequiturs and our also random trivia facts
Yes.
that you didn't know that you needed to know. So. But I think that'll do it for us tonight, folks. So thank you again for joining. As always, you can catch us on Anchor.fm, which is our hosting partner. You can which feeds into things like Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, like 5 or 6 different other ones. Catch us on social media on Facebook / non sequitur nerds, Twitter @non sequitur nerd.
Which has turned into our meme reposting page.
Well, I mean, that's kind of what we do.
Yeah.
You know,
We are
y-
much
y-
much more active on Facebook and are also easier to reach on there. Twitter's just kind of at this point is a fun little aside for us to share funny memes and repost random stuff. But yeah,
right.
you can find us on both of those, as well as
Yes.
something new we've been doing. You can find us, watch us our live recordings of our episode every week on Spotify. Wow, I'm failing this one on Twitch.
Yeah, Tim really needs to let me handle the outros.
Yeah, seriously. I
Uh,
do the intros, you do the outros. We know we know our realm. So go ahead, Ian. Take it away.
yeah. So, thank you again for probably the fifth thank you of the evening, but we just want to obviously extend thank you to our fans and listeners. You
Yep.
may not be a fan, but we at least appreciate you listening.
Yep.
So,
And
we will
we did
go.
have a couple people pop in and out on watching us live on Twitch. So thank you for joining us on there as well, watching us live. So we have a weeb in the chat. It looks like. So thank you for joining.
Yes, thank you very much. So we'll go ahead and wrap up for tonight, folks. You can also catch the video of this on YouTube. And then obviously our audio portion is on your favorite podcasting sites. So
Every Monday at 8 a.m. Eastern.
yes. So thank you again, everyone. We wish you a good evening, good day, good night, good afternoon, whatever
And
time it
good
is that
luck.
you are. Yes, whatever time it is that you are tuning in. So for non sequitur nerds, I'm Ian.
And I'm Tim. Have a good night, everybody.
May the force be with you.
And also with you. Bye.
Just just push the button.
Okay.